Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to offer dana, then please do go to justthiszen.org/giving. Your support really does make a huge difference. Thank you so much.
Do you know, I was, as I was thinking about this talk, and I have been doing, as you do, you know, and I know what I'll say will be completely different to what but, you know, that's how it'll go. And I was thinking of the poem by David White, and I'm going to read it because it might well remind you, and it's what we've just done, really, and the poem is Start Close In. Start close in, so come on. Don't take the second step or the third. This is for me, really. Start with the first one. The first thing, close in, the step you don't want to take. Start with the ground you know, the pale ground beneath your feet. Your own way to begin the conversation with you. Start with your own question. Give up on other people's questions. Don't let them smother something simple. To hear another's voice, follow your own voice. Wait until that voice becomes an intimate, private ear that can really listen to another. Start right now. Take a small step, one you can call your own. Don't follow someone else's heroics. There's a lot of heroics being going on, hasn't there? Be humble and focused. Start close in. Don't mistake that other for your own. Start close in. Don't take the second step, the third. Start with the first thing, close in. The step you don't want to take, isn't it? Now we start close in. So I'm starting here with this body, this person, being right here with you. And Suzuki Roshi says, try to forget yourself. It's not easy, is it? And rely on your own voice, your voiceless voice, your non-verbal voice. You know, when it was my 80th birthday party, to which many of you came, and it was very joyful, we sang a song, didn't we, Karen? We sang, "This is my home where I belong," in this voice, in this song. And the same is true for all of us, isn't it? We can't really live anywhere else. I don't know why we think we can. But, yeah. And we've had so many beautiful things already streaming through us. You know, Flint's talk and the questions that he offered. How do we find freedom in this practice? How do we find joy in this practice? I think that's here. And then Josh's talk. How do we cultivate our soft and flexible mind? And you talked about circadian rhythms. And how do we hold each other's hands in the darkness? And in the light. Yeah, all those things. And then Jan's beautiful exercise that you gave us yesterday. And we were all branching streams. And how that kind of moved us in some way, the branching, the flow moved us. So I feel so grateful to be here and privileged to sit in this seat. And we always say that, don't we? But it's true. It's true. What the heck is this little body doing in here? You know. And when I went to see Josh on Friday at Dokusan, and I was really tearful when I just went in through the door, and And it was just to do with you. It was all of you, how beautiful you are, how beautifully you are expressing this practice, living this practice. And I was so moved by just the whole sense of us being together. Words don't do it, really. And then I wondered, have any of you, I'm sure you have, if you've been here for very long, wandered down the steps and down to the pier and looked across the bay? And when you look across the bay, I'm a child of the bay. This is my home in some ways, and aren't you just touched by it? The world is so beautiful. And I was thinking, do we tell it that we love it? We tell each other sometimes. Well, that can be hard, but do we tell the world, I love you, world. You're amazing. And when you look across and you see the flowing of the water and the constant changing streams and changing channels, and that brings us to our book, to our poem that we're looking at. And I think to myself, if somebody had said to me, what do you think about Zen? Well, say 15 years ago, I'd have thought, well, it looks a bit severe to me. They all wear black and shave their heads. Yeah. And they do these very strange rituals, I think. And they sit and they look at a wall. My goodness me, and they all feel very straight in their bodies, And I would have thought it was, well, I think my words would have been austere, What did I know? What do I know now? But I know what this practice brings to me, which is something totally unrelated to the idea of what Zen is. I'm going to turn a page. Can you hear me all right, Ben? Good. And I really noticed, I don't know how it's been for you, but I just want to thank Jodie and Karen and Jill, if she's not here, who have been leading us in the chants. Where are you? Oh, there! Sorry. No. Couldn't see you, sorry. You're so little. Leading us in the chants. And I don't know how it's been for you, but for me, I can really feel how different that feels. Yeah? Doesn't it feel different? It feels like my body is here. I'm not just saying words anymore. And it feels like the words sing through me. And I think that's part of what happens in our practice so much. Things sing through us, they dance through us, they move through us, and we don't know where they're going to go, do we? Like we don't know with the channels out in the bay. You've no idea where they're going to go next. They keep moving all the time. And they move through us, and then something sort of begins to happen with them. We don't know what it is. And my main sense of this book, this beautiful book, which apparently I'm supposed to have read some of, so I have a bit, not all of it. Do I understand it? But I don't think that's what it's about, is it? Understanding it. I think, for me, the thing that really touches me about this book when I first started to read it and look at it is the sincerity of practice. I think Suzuki Roshi so wanted us to have this sense of this really important poem in his practice. He really wanted to give it to us, and he's worked so hard through here to really try to offer it to us. And he's offering it from the Chinese, so he's really trying to give it to us. And for me, that touches me more than anything. And when... Are you okay, darling? No? You want to take take a moment. Yeah. And we've got it in our hands. How did that happen? And what's more, we've been chanting the words, and then Flint had described to us how he passed the document across, and I just think, all of these people, isn't that amazing? I just feel so utterly grateful. And it says on the back of this book, and that's what it feels like. One word that Robert Aitken says is, I feel grateful, and he doesn't say to Suzuki Roshi, but I think that should be included, Mel Weitzman and Michael Wenger, for their labour of love. And it feels like a labour of love. We've been brought this by so many hands. And you'd be surprised which chapter I'm involved with. You'd be astonished. Are you ready? Warm hand to warm hand. That's the one that I'm going to be involved with. Oh, what a surprise. And, I just wanted to say also that I just wanted to include everybody that's been involved in this Sangha, our stream of Sanghas. We've got so many happening now. I go to Mountain Bell, I go to Nothing Special, I go to Nothing Missing, aren't we lucky? So in this first part, very first part of this, the mind of the great sage of India, well, we kind of know who that is, I think, is transmitted, but it's intimately transmitted, intimately, from west to east. And I think there are a few elements in there that I just kind of was really curious about. One is, it's very clear to me from this poem that it's saying, it doesn't have to be understood, this teaching. It reaches everywhere, and it's for everyone. Everyone. I like the bit that he talks about sharp or dull, which he does in the book, and he says, I'm dull. I'm dull too in that case. I don't understand it, but there's the feel of it for me. And I know he's talking about, there's no divide. That this Dharma stays, I'm trying to think of what the right word is, pure to itself. So you can't divide it. And that's what obviously was happening at the time that this poem was written. And this is why it's been written, to sort of offer harmony and to talk about the absolute and the relative, which we're living all the time, aren't we? How can you talk about something you're living all the time? I've got an eye that's going to cry. That's okay. Yeah. And when he talks about intimately transmitted, what Suzuki Roshi says, that the Chinese word for intimately transmitted, I don't know whether it was both of them together, is mitsuni, which means exactly or without a gap between the two. No gap. And then he talks also about the one and the many and things that it is, and like Josh was talking about, and my guess is that also truly will. And, then that's kind of the essence of what he's saying. Well, there's no point in doing some of the things you've been doing because we're all one thing. And he talks about differentiation as a way of viewing reality. That was of interest to me, because what he says is differentiation is equality. That's completely different to our idea of difference, isn't it? He says that if men and women are the same, then the distinctions between men and women have no value, because men and women are different. Come back, Shirley, when you feel right. Men are valuable as men, and women are valuable as women. To be different has value. In this sense, all things are equal. Absolute value, because each thing is different. Each thing has its own value. At this point, I'm going to introduce this very beautiful book, which apparently Karen gave as Benji to our show just recently. I love this book. I don't know whether you know it. If you don't know it, no. It's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. And it's a very beautiful... Well, it is now a story. It wasn't a story at first, apparently. It was just a load of drawings that the guy did. And somebody said to him, you know, you can make a story out of this. You can make a story out of your lives. And I really love this book. And Helen very kindly brought me also The Mole. It's very beautiful. Look, he's coming to say hello. He's been hiding in the darkness. Because that's where he lives, isn't it? He lives, isn't he gorgeous? This was given to Helen's son John by my daughter. And they've been keeping him safe under the bed, I think, because he's so beautiful, he's not ready to be played with yet. So he's been living in the darkness. And, you know, and he brings, in this book, he comes up into the light in order to meet the boy. And he has a lot of courage. He's very brave. And he probably can't see very well in the light. In fact, he probably can't see much at all. So the boy looks after him in some ways, carries him places, helps him as he moves around. But the mole is really wise in lots of ways and very loving. And I'll read you just the first little bit that he says. There are two things. I'm not going to read the whole book. Not now, anyway. It starts with them just saying, hello. I'm so small, said the mole. Well, that's appropriate, isn't it? Yes, said the boy, but you make a huge difference. And I kind of wanted to say that to all of you, you know. Not that you're small, but you may feel small. However you feel, sometimes you feel that you can't cope with things or manage or whatever. Whatever it is you feel, but you make a huge difference. And I just wanted to read the other bit that he says, if I can find where it is, which basically I can remember, I think. He says, sometimes I want to tell you all that I love you, but I find it hard to say it. And the boy says, well, what can you say? Well, I can say I'm glad that you're here. So I'm going to say I'm glad that you're here. And I'm glad that I'm here too. So he's going to sit here for a minute or two. You are allowed to couple him later on if you would like. But you'll have to give him back. Oh dear. I'm thinking about this word human, you know. And in this beautiful book, the Branching Streams book, what Suzuki Roshi says is that the Chinese character for human, I've drawn it, it may not be very good, but you might be able to see it. That's the Chinese character for human. It's two lines, and they hold each other up. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? That's what we are, holding each other up all the time. So I was thinking about, well, how or what is transmitted? How is anything transmitted intimately? What are we transmitting? I don't know. I'm thinking about how it's transmitted and asking those questions. Suzuki Roshi says, studying Buddhism is not like studying other things. Darn it. That's what Lynne found out, wasn't it? You know, when he's talked about at the beginning, and he thought, yeah, I can do this, yeah, got degrees, can do all sorts of things. No. It may take time before you can accept the teaching completely. Yeah. The most important factor is you, yourself, rather than your teacher. When you study hard, what you receive from your teacher is the spirit of study. That spirit will be transmitted from warm hand to warm hand. You should do it. You should do it, that's all. There's nothing really to transmit to you, so there we go. Well, it's all transmit, and there's nothing to transmit. And what you learn, maybe from books or from other teachers, yeah, it's where it comes from, wherever. And I've been trying to feel my way into this idea of warm hand to warm hand, and it's lovely. And I can feel, you know, when you come in here, when you came in here for the first day, and all of these people who have been taking such infinite care to make this space so beautiful. Nana Flowers has been everywhere. That's what Trudy's grandchildren call her. And and all the loveliness of just, and the time. I know how long it takes. I know how much effort is put into this. The care, all of these hands, these warm and loving hands that have looked after it. But there are things that are less visible, you know, like the hours of preparation I know that Jan and her team have done, and, you know, I can't name everybody, and they will be named eventually. But there's more for me as well. You know, this warm hand doesn't feel just about that care and love. It's actually a living hand. This hand is living. And it feels really important to me that this warm hand to warm hand is we are living this practice. And it is through living it that it gets transmitted. I was remembering a koan that I think Trudy probably mentioned at some point in one of her talks. She'll remember which one. Eyebrows lifted there. And it's from this lovely book, The Hidden Lamp, which I'm sure some of you have got, which is wonderful stories from awakened women. I'm saying that with a little emphasis. It's called, I'll say it the way that I'm going to say it, I can't speak Chinese, or Japanese, or whatever this is, Zazu's deep secret mind. Anon asked Master Zazu Kongen, what is the deeply secret mind? Zazu squeezed her hand. The nun said, do you still have this? Zazu said, you're the one who has this. And in the reflection, Ikushan, Dana, Veldon, why do they always have these difficult for me names? Koans often delight me, she says. They play with my heart and mind like a schoolyard full of boisterous children. Lovely. Love that. There are so many intrigues and distractions, lots of games to join in and tangents to follow. And this one's no exception. It runs up full of energy and mischief and playfully tosses a ball in my direction. What is the deeply secret mind? And the word secret snags at something inside me. And then I fumble, and the ball bounces into the busy street, and I follow after it. what is this secret? Perhaps she meant hidden. Is that a better way to understand it? I duck and dodge and flail about, looking for safety and some way out, thinking that secrets have led me to dangerous places, and secrets often do. And then Zazu squeezes my hand. And I turn to another translation with the question, what is the innermost mind? And that question finds a shape inside me, and it fills me completely. And I sit with it for a while and settle down. Less pursuit, more exploration. And time passes and passes, and Zazu squeezes my hand. And then, in Zen, and indeed in much of life, a gesture can speak more powerfully and more truthfully than words. So I turn away from the question towards the gesture. And I think of all the times that somebody has squeezed my hand. You probably feel that just as I say it. You think of all the times somebody squeezed your hand. Or maybe even held your hand. And she goes on to remember the times that that's happened. And I'll just read the last little bit that she says. What she feels about Zazu and the nun is their intimacy and their ease, and how together they create an understanding that's deeper than if they were separate. The river that flows through everything is understood to flow through everything. And so it does, back and forth, boundless waters, endless sky, dragon play. These aren't secrets, they are mysteries. And they have to be discovered over and over and over again. In a boast, but not hidden, they flow from warm hand to warm hand. The plain, courageous intimacy of one human life intersecting with another, beyond words, beyond comprehension, and fully and completely received. No gap was what I thought there. Wherever you are one with the clouds. We know this one from Suzuki Roshi. And one with the sun and the stars that you see, and you are still one with everything. This is more true than I can say, and more true than you can hear. I wanted to share, just seeing how time is flying as it does. I thought, would I have enough? Oh, well, yeah, I've got enough here. I was surprised. On Monday, I went to York, and then I went to Sheffield. And this is last Monday. And I met Jan as I came off the train, and the first thing we did was hold hands. That's what we did. And then we went to dear Emma's funeral. Emma, who has been a member of our Sangha, and we went to her memorial service, which was very beautiful and was held by John, facilitated it beautifully, and Judy, who's not here. And when we left, and I got off the train when we'd come back home, we sat across the table from each other and we squeezed hands. And Zazu squeezes my hand. Emma gave us so much in the end of her life. She died very quickly, very suddenly, and she connected with as many people as she possibly could. Even to her last breath, she was texting people. And again, Zazu squeezes my hand, and it's that intimacy and that recognition of practice. I think what practice gives you. I think it gives us somehow that opportunity to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to allow ourselves to be fragile, to allow ourselves to recognise that we need this connection. He didn't know I was going to keep holding his hand, did he, when he sat to me? Oh, thank you, Joshie. Charlie Mackesy, who was the one who wrote this book here, is the sweetest man. I don't know whether you've ever listened to any of his interviews. He's a delight, incredibly humble. He talks about stumbling and mumbling through life, which I quite like, And he says it's the journey that matters. In our messy lives, the process that we are in is an end in itself. It's not a means to an end. Today our imperfections are there, and how we are just in this very moment is an end in itself. How we are as we sit here and be together. I won't be able to read all of this, but I would like to really include one of Emma's poems that she wrote. This is somebody who is dying. I think it's important to remember that when she's writing this. It's not all about grief and rage, is it? Where's the fun, the frolicking, the peals of laughter, the wild abandon, childlike energy and spontaneity? Fun is in me like a lamb on a warm, strong morning, or a snowball fight with your children, like walking barefoot among the waves, breaking on the sand, hand in hand. Deepest contentment, not striving, worrying, not hijacked by the past or haunted by the ghosts in the cellar. An opening, knowing you belong and accepting that everything is right, even when it feels wrong. But where's the belly laugh, the look of being understood and loved and loving, you and me in all our beautiful absurdity. Thank you, darling Emma. What a gift. I'm noticing the time. I'm being very good, actually, at noticing the time. It's nearly 12 o'clock. I just wanted to finish there. There was more, but, it's okay. It's okay. There was another koan, and if you get a chance to read it in the Hidden Lamp, it's called Let's Become Enlightened Together. Yay! Let's do it together. I'll just read the last little bit. Well, I'll read you the koan very briefly. It's the Australian nun Chi Kwang Sunim had the opportunity to meet a 102-year-old Korean nun, Kai Jae-on Sunim, who'd meditated for years. When Chi Kwang came into her presence, the old nun was sitting upright with a rosary of black beads and a rosary of white beads twirling together, in her left hand, and silently repeating her mantra and gazing into space in front of her. And the old nun grabbed Chi Kwang's hand and pulled her close. Oh, not again. When Chi Kwang yelled in the hard of hearing nun's ear, "I'm a foreigner," the old nun held up the mingled black and white beads and said, "Let's practice together." When Chi Kwang asked the old nun about her past, she replied, "What past?" And then the old nun smiled and said, "Let's become enlightened together." Nearly finished. That's a good ending, isn't it, really? Let's do it together. I wanted to just read because it made me giggle and because I think you'll enjoy it. The last little bit of this chapter in this book to practice is not to collect things and put them in your basket, but to rather find something in your sleeve. It's just that before you study hard, you don't know what you have in your sleeve. I'm going to do it because I think this is probably what Suzuki Roshi did. Buddha. And I had the same thing. Oh, wow. Oh, isn't that amazing?